of day number 2 for both of these squads. EG's at the top of the table. If they can win here again, then they can continue that spate of dominance, not allow RNG to catch up to them. But if Liquid win, suddenly things in group number A looking a lot more interesting than they were yesterday.
Yeah, they definitely will be. If EG do lose this this first game, that will put Liquid 5-2, and that will put EG at 6-1. So things start getting a little bit spicy towards the top end here of Group A.
Oh,
EG though, looks like they're going to come out with a bit of aggression.
It's fine, dude. It's boxy. This is kind of why you pick the Spirit Breaker as well. You just can't die.
Are they lane switching here for EG? Are they going to try and put Nightfall in the mid lane and try and put Arteezy on the Sven in the bottom side of the map to try and... No, it looks like Arteezy's heading back towards top, so... Thought they were going to do a little bit of weird lane shenaniganry here for EG, just trying to alleviate a bit of the pressure that the heroes are going to be having here, because, you know, Sven going into Death Prophet, that's going to feel pretty bad. You don't really have good burst damage to be able to take her down in these early stages, and especially up against a Snapfire as well. I think Arteezy's going to struggle in this lane. So we'll have to wait and see about whether or not EG are going to make some rotations here, or whether or not they're going to put more emphasis in towards the Brood lane to see if they can shut down, you know, this Pudge versus Spirit Breaker. That's a tanky lane. That is a very, very hard lane to try and kill. But it's a Brood Mother. We've seen what this Brood Mother hero has been able to do recently, and we've seen what Nightfall's been able to do with this hero in his hands as well. So we've got faith in the boys of EG, but I feel like Team Liquid definitely coming out a little bit on top here with this.
I want to remind everybody at home that we are here doing TI group stages, but nowhere in our contract does it say we're not allowed to be biased towards squads. So
yeah, I mean, if there's any EG management that's currently watching this game, at Fluke Oz, if you guys want to send me a jersey, I'm more than happy to hype you guys up any more than you guys currently are. So I'm happy to shield.
I'm very happy to shield as well for this mid lane matchup. These Queen of Pain versus the Shadow Fiend. This feels like a classic match. You don't get to see this kind of matchup all that often anymore. And the one thing I love about this particular matchup is there is very high kill threat between both of them. So there's never a point in time where either of them will just be cavalierly farming. We're going to see a lot of trading between the two, a lot of regen trading as well. And also, because of how tanky some of these heroes are in the side lanes, it's not too surprising to imagine that there will be a hero or two that just makes a rotation towards the mid lane to help out. So both of them also have to be playing on their toes the entire time. It's going to be exciting stuff, which is a nice change from many lanes that, let's be honest, are quite boring in the mid lane these days.
Yeah, we've seen a whole lot of these Farm Fest right now. I think this is going to be an interesting tale between Mike and Arbed. Arbed has been coined as one of those really high-skilled mechanical mid players, but Mike has also been one of those players as well. I think he's done a really good job at proving he deserves to be in this mid lane and doing a lot of good work here for Team Liquid over the last couple of days. So it's going to be a good matchup for us to watch. And I think top lane is going to be a very volatile matchup as well. We've already seen how much damage they're able to put in on Arteezy. But if Fly is able to just give this extra bit of space for the Sven to get a few of these levels up, and then Arteezy can just fall back in towards the jungle, they're going to be okay. But Team Liquid, they're going to have a lot of kill threat early on, and it's all about if Liquid can, if EG can weather the storm here coming in from Liquid.
So far, so good for them on the top side of the map. Middle, so far, so good for the Mike Shadow Fiend, who is doing a pretty good job of dumpstering Arbed right now. Well ahead of him in denies. Very well ahead of him in CS, and has a wave underneath the tower, so should be able to mop up most of it. Arbed not going to be happy with the state of affairs if things continue under the current regime, but should still be okay. Should still be okay for the most part. Can still play Dota, which is, as we saw in the previous series, when you're not allowed to play Dota, that's when things become really difficult, but you can still win a game that starts out poorly, provided that the mid game doesn't go too sour too quickly.
Yeah. As long as this game is relatively even, they're going to be okay. But Team Liquid are definitely feeling happy with how these lanes are going. Martu versus Nightfall is an interesting one for me. Crit playing onto this this Hoodwink. It is one of those position 4 heroes that I think we're going to be seeing rise in prominence a little bit more, just because of how strong it can be and how much kill threat it actually can pose simply by itself. So a lot of these offlaners don't really need to have that much kill threat by themselves. They just need to be able to input a little bit of that extra damage when you do see things like the Bushwhack come out for crit. So I'm interested to see if they're able to get some early kills here to get Nightfall off to a good start, or whether or not, once Martu gets his Vanguard up, it's going to be very hard to push him out of the lane. So if they're able to put the pressure back onto this Pudge and able to at least get this Broodmother off to a good start, then EG can feel happy with it. But I think Liquid are doing a good job so far to mitigate that damage that can come in from an early Brood pick.
Looking at this mid hero of Queen of Pain, she's getting charged into right now. But the Spirit Car was scouted out. They know what's happening. They're trying to muscle her off the bottom side of the map. I'm very much looking forward to the interplay between the Queen of Pain and the Hoodwink when the Hoodwink does eventually get level 6. The Sharpshooter with Sonic Wave, it's a shocking amount of damage, especially early on. And we were talking about it yesterday. It always feels like Sharpshooter does too much damage. Like, no matter how many times you die to that spot, you're just like, oh my god, dude, really? Seriously? That's way too much.
Yeah.
So, this is going to be a very fun game to watch as well, Flute, because, you know, something that you keep mentioning, when you look at these cooldowns, not that many of them are quite high on either lineup here, so we don't have to necessarily worry. We'll talk about it in a second as Insania gets himself away from RTZ. There's going to be a Spirit Siphon as well, going back towards the Sven. Zai doesn't have enough mana to keep going all the way here. Actually, he does. Gonna keep chasing underneath the tower. Nice block, but it's not gonna work out for RTZ with the tree. Zai pops the magic wand, able to keep the chase going. Also kills the courier for Fly at the same time. That's a phenomenal way to start the game here. Depressing RTZ, elevating yourself, and making Fly sad in the process.
Yeah, it's always a good start when you have these kind of last pick heroes like the Death Prophet to be able to get that advantage in their lane, right? Like, and that's why I really like this draft coming in from Team Liquid. I think they've got some really good lanes to be able to play this game out, and once they start getting to that point where they've got their level 6s. Okay, so they do take down Matu. This is what I talked about, right? Like, if they're able to kill Matu before he gets that Vanguard up, it's very, very hard for them to push him out of the lane once the Vanguard is up. But they do so much damage early on with the Bushwhack as well as the Silken Bowler that it is very, very hard for Matu to stay in this lane unless he gets, like, you know, a clutch little flesh heap off before the Silken Bowler comes in, blocks a little bit of that damage, blocks a little bit of the right clicks from the Insatiable Hunger. Then he can survive, but he needs to wait until he gets his Vanguard, and that's when he can be very, very hard to deal with.
You see in the top lane, they were trying to play aggressively into Zai. Unfortunately, Spirit Siphon, no matter how many tweaks this spell receives, it still remains a broken spell in middle. Abed getting charged into, took a lot of damage from the Shadow Fiend, but because Boxy is only a slowly support this game, level 3, 2 points into Greater Bash, 0 points into Bulldoze, so no chance to be able to get this quick kill onto Abed. That does still create some space for the Shadow Fiend, have some uninterrupted waves where he doesn't have to worry about anyone or anything, just pure free farm in this mid lane. He has access to a haste rune though, Fluke. Will he try and make use of this somewhere? He's about to crack level 7, soon after the second wave emerges in this mid lane. Do we maybe see him pop this haste, go somewhere, try to force a Requiem play on the map?
I think he feels pretty happy with how it's going. Like, he is currently dumpstering Abed. He's 38 and 15 up against the 23 and 4. So he is more than happy with how this mid lane is going. So he's happy to just sit here, throw the right clicks out. If he gets a double raise on Abed, Abed might have to just fall back into base. I think the emphasis is really now on this Queen of Pain. Once he hits this level 6, I think he has to make a rotation, preferably towards the bottom side of the map. Try and take down Matu before he gets his Vanguard up. Try and blow up the Pudge. Give Nightfall that nice little start to the game that you really hoped for, because the Broodmother can be one of those heroes that can try and take over where the Shadow Fiend wants to play. And, oh, Mike almost solo killed Abed once again. And I think this is where the pressure starts to build here for Abed. He's the one that needs to make these rotations because Mike is just going to sit here and farm.
Life is a little bit complicated right now for this Queen of Pain. Top lane, they're also putting a lot of pressure out onto this RTZ Sven. Playing in behind the tower, and Fly can't really do too much about this. Mid lane, Crit was thinking about trying to render some assistance. Abed is about to crack level 6, just picked it up, but he sees the haste rune on Crit and he's like, yeah, this isn't happening, is it? Decides to just go back to his side of the map. Although on the bright side, down bottom, Nightfall did become too oppressively powerful pre the arrival of the Vanguard. So Matu has been bounced out of the lane in its entirety. Mid lane though, Abed almost died. The Sonic Wave will push back Mike. The charge is incoming. Boxy, can he finish him off? Of course he can. And now they're looking towards Fly as well. The Fire Snap quickly helped out. Crit, at the very least, gets some quick revenge with the Bushwhack. But it's a 2-for-1 exchange in this mid lane. Liquid coming out on top of it. And that's also the Sonic Wave committed here, Fluke. So when he respawns, Abed can't go and assist elsewhere on the map because his big spell is now on cooldown and he still lost his life first.
Yeah, Liquid are playing really, really good right now. They understand that Mike is their kind of shining star right now. He's the one that's having a good time. Oh, Matu.
Dude, if Crit's not here, then that is a dead Nightfall. But Crit with the Bushwhack just looking really, really good. This hero continues to impress on this Hoodwink, enabling him to get a kill middle on the Shadow Fiend, saving the life of Nightfall down bottom, and making sure that Nightfall's dominance continues into this game here.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing here for EG is they've at least got one hero that's doing a good job right now. Broodmother was able to come out on top. Arteezy now is just back on jungle duty. I think the biggest thing for me is the fact that Mike is such a dominant force right now. He's going to get an early Dragon Lance. Boxy is going to go down inside of the jungle, and this is where it's going to become hard for EG. I talked about the fact that it's difficult for them to play this this kind of draft on the back foot, and if they've got Mike as well as Zai just kind of rocking up to your towers, like, how are you going to kick them out? You don't really have a good way of initiating. You don't really have a good way for getting your spend injected into these fights unless you get something along the lines of like a Shadow Blade, but I think if EG are trying to defend their towers, it's going to be very, very rough for them to try and get some of this space back. So Team Liquid are definitely in a good spot here to be able to have an early bit of momentum going into the rest of this game.
Down bottom, we see the difference that this Vanguard can make, because as soon as it gets picked up, Matu much harder to kill. But as fortunately for him, Crit got Sharpshooter, and we saw exactly how much damage was going to emerge from him. Killing spree right now for Nightfall. 3 heroes have been brought down. Almost 700 damage dished out by the Hoodwink with one spell. Seems fair and balanced to me. And with them being able to kill Matu yet again down bottom, they'll surely claim this tier 1 tower. So they need to start making something happening elsewhere on the map. Zai has access to the ghosts. Do you think they should try and force a push maybe into this mid lane with ghosts, having Shadow Fiend available with Requiem, just try and ball up, force EG into an awkward position where they have to decide if we're going to try and hold this tower or not?
Yeah, it's kind of scary though, because if you leave Nightfall to his own devices, he's already going to be able to take down this tier 1 tower. I think you need to make it a very convincing fight for them. And Matu's walked in. They don't really have much else that they can do here up against the Pudge. I would like to see them ball in and try and take down this this tier 1 tower in the middle lane, but EG, they're going to send a lot of their resources there as well. They understand that they can just leave RT to do his own devices in the jungle. Nightfall's the scariest hero on the map right now, so they don't want to go anywhere near towards his lane, and as long as Arbed as well as Crit and Fly are holding hands towards this mid lane, it's going to be very, very hard for Team Liquid to try and get this fight without overcommitting a little bit too much.
Literally 50-50 betting odds, so extremely close between these two squads. Even the win probability at the moment is pretty much 50-50. Boxy will probably contribute towards EG being higher probability if he loses his life down bottom. They missed out on the Bushwhack and on the Sharpshooter. Boxy, you got your J's on, I see, today. All right. And he's just several seconds away from getting the charge once more. Matu, can he find the hook? The angle, not going to be good enough. Too many creeps blocking the path. So Nightfall is allowed to TP out, but it is a little bit of an issue that he's noticing that, well, Boxy, one of the reasons why we see the Spirit Breaker hero picked into the Brute so often, it's also so hard to burst him and kill him quickly, like so many other support heroes, that he can hold, buy time for his team to come in, and suddenly they can re-engage on top of you. But unfortunately for them, it did force Zai to the bottom lane, so we're not going to have the Ghost push just yet. I say that, but he's drawing the line towards middle. Immediately bounding here to try and link up with his team. Matu is here as well. They've also got the charge onto Abe. Looks like they want to try force a fight here, Fluke.
Oh.
They go out with the hook. It doesn't connect proper. Abed, he had Crit as backup though, who already dropped down the tree, letting them know that, hey, a Bushwhack is coming, fam. Don't do this. So they are forced to abandon the push.
And this is why I like the Hoodwink response to the Spirit Breaker as well, right? Because you can throw out the Acorn shot, and you've always got that Bushwhack, so as long as the Hoodwink is hovering around in the trees, it's very, very hard for this Spirit Breaker to come in on conventional angles, right? You saw Boxy come directly down the mid lane. We might have to see him try and start his trajectory from behind the trees on the tier 1 tower if they want to catch Arbed off guard and even catch Crit off guard as well, so doing a good job right now are EG to slow this game down. They're the ones that are more than happy to have this game as a nice little slow kind of farm fest because they've got a Broodmother, they've got themselves a Sven as well, and the Wraith Pack's going to be coming out very, very soon here for Nightfall, and that's when he can start to group up with his team. Once he's able to get towards these tier 1 towers, it's going to be on Liquid to see if they can get these responses going in because they had a good first 13 minutes, and now it's about their responses to see what they can do against EG.
On bottom, you're going to see that EG, what they can do right now is just use Crit and Nightfall as a duo to quickly get a kill onto Boxy. It's one thing when it's a Brood by himself, but with this Hoodwink nearby, there's absolutely no way you survive that one. This bottom side of the map, man, just feels so dangerous. Anybody who walks into these webs. And unfortunately, they're not doing too much to play elsewhere. Silence middle, though, onto Arbed. Do they have the damage to kill him? Morty's Kisses are flying in as well. But They're not going to be on target, unfortunately. They might still try to commit for this, though. Mike is here. Nowhere close towards having BKB. And yeah, they are really, really skittish about popping Ghost for nothing. They want to make sure that the first usage of the spell will result in a tower actually falling. But yet again, we're having so much contestation in this mid lane here. Everybody just hanging out. But now, oh no, top! They're going onto the Pudge. They will be able to catch him out with the Stormhammer. Sharpshooters there as well. Matu trying to stay alive right now. He's tanking so much damage. Reinforcements are coming, and they didn't have enough damage to actually kill him. Now suddenly Crit being the one that gets charged into. There will be the Nether Strike from Boxy. Certain death for Crit. And Matumba, man, had a rough laning phase, died twice, but he just has Vanguard, 4 points into Flesh Heap. Sweet. Pretty much invincible at this stage of the game. Fair and balanced, as we like to say, with how this game is looking right now.
Yeah, they didn't have the God Strength on Arteezy. He used it to clear an Ancient stack just a few moments beforehand. So EG just biting a little bit more often than they can chew. They had a few more of these heroes. It could have been scary, but oh, Liquid, they're walking into the webs.
Walking into the webs, and at the same time, they found the silence and the drain out onto the Queen of Pain. The Spider, she's going to be able to escape this fight and come back for the re-engage. Sonic Wave popped in by Abed, but Abed, one more Ghost will kill him, but it's too far away. 100 HP keeps the Queen of Pain alive for now. And Zai, unfortunately, was saving these ghosts for so long. Fluke wanted the proper activation of them. Is good enough to bounce the Queen of Pain out of his jungle. Not good enough to kill her. And now that they're down, they're not going to be able to utilize them to push on the tower middle anymore.
It's a little bit unfortunate when you have this this exorcism and you aren't able to utilize it for a kill there. But I think that just goes to show that that Liquid, they understand that Zai's actually really strong here on this Death Prophet. This Death Prophet hero, I thought we would be seeing a whole lot more out of it. I think this is a very, very strong hero right now. And it just goes to show that how much damage he's able to do. Crit has been found out by the charge, and EG once again getting caught out. It's a big bushwhack. Is he going to live?
No.
No way.
Oh. Nice. Even when he's dying, though, he's busy giving us some highlight reel plays. Shout out Crit. He's been in a really good play for such a long time. Great bushwhack. Forces them to use the Morty's Kisses. So there's one less tool in the arsenal of the side of Team Liquid here to utilize against EG. And Rune. Oh, it's a double damage down bottom. Dude, no cap, if this was a DD for the Shadow Fiends, the way they were posturing, I thought they might actually try to force a Roshan. You see a charge going on to Nightfall with the Nether Strike as well. He's stunned up by the Fire Snap Cookie. Nightfall is in danger. Drops the Wraith Pack Totem though, mitigating this damage. Arteezy coming in, looking for revenge. He finds the stun onto Insania as his team cleans up Boxy. And with these two kills on the supports, the path to the Tier 1 tower is wide open. And EG will take it.
Free Rosh.
They're the ones now thinking about the Roshan because they still have the DD going on Abed.
Yeah, I said that was going to be bad for Team Liquid there. They didn't have their Shadow Fiend and they didn't have their Pudge there either. Maybe if they had the Exorcism coming up for Zai, that they could have potentially tried to win that fight. But the fact that there's this Wraith Pact here on the Broodmother, they had Arbet who was always waiting in the wings, just to be able to provide a little bit of that extra damage. And as soon as that Wraith Pack goes down on the Broodmother, it is so hard to try and kill her inside of her her webs here, just because of the maximum amount of HP regen that she gets. Like, she just turns into this absolute tank when she's sitting on her own webs. She has this Wraith Pack now, he's got a cloak. He's going to have this Hood of Defiance very, very soon here on the Broodmother, and he's just going to sit in these team fights. He's going to spam out the Spawn Spiderlings and spam out these Silken Bowlers. And then it's just going to be really, really hard for Team Liquid to try and commit to kill this Broodmother. Because if you don't kill the Brood, then she's going to build up these baby spiders. And then once the baby spiders are built up, they're going to start to tear people to shreds. And if they haven't been able to kill the Broodmother at the start of the fight, then they've utilized all their damage, they've utilized all their lockdown, and then EG just walk in with the Sven who's got the God Strength going, and same thing with Arbed, and they're going to do a lot of damage. So Liquid, they had a really good start to the game, and they had a really good idea about how they wanted to play around it, but it's just this mid-game, EG just have too many spells and too many items to be able to kind of play around with them. That's a nice little pick there on a crit, but EG are definitely in the driver's seat right now.
Gonna smoke up with Arteezy. He's got a Blink Dagger active, so would love to activate this God Strength, jump on a hero and blow them up in 2 hits, and indeed, there we go. Woo! That hurts. There used to be an Insania there. He's gone. Buys back immediately, though. He wants to be involved in this fight. But they found the stun onto Mike. He absolutely cannot die. Gets off the Requiem, though. The fear is going to be there. Here comes Zai, activating the Ghost. They're going on to Arteezy. Arteezy about to lose his first life. His only life, because Abed is the one that's carrying the Aegis. They managed to bring down the Sven. Sonic Wave did come out from Abed, but not enough to win the fight. Zai with the Ghost able to clean up, but unfortunately, the Spirit Siphon not going to be enough to heal him all the way against Abed, and the Ghost do not come back in time. So Abed will be able to get the kill with Nightfall onto the Death Prophet. This fight ends up being somewhat even here. They get more out of it on the side of EG since they do kill the Snapfire and force her to buy back, but at the same time, losing Arteezy, that is not what you want to have happen here.
Yeah, they just weren't able to fully commit onto Mickey on the Shadow Feed. It was a nice little charge through from Boxy, just kind of caught them a little bit in disarray. You can see the power of the Requiem, just gets the perma-fear on everybody, and as soon as Arteezy is running away and not being able to be the one that sticks on these heroes, Zai comes in with the Spirit Siphon, burns him to pieces. Was a little unfortunate from Abed. He only has level 1 in the Sonic Wave, very, very close to hitting that level 2 for the Sonic Wave. That definitely would have been a kill onto the Shadow Fiend, and Boxy gets away scot-free. Speaking of Boxy, he's unfortunately, he's now dead.
Yep, no freebies this time around.
Nope.
Mike was allowed to survive that last fight. You know, it's actually interesting, right? You were mentioning just now about this massive army that could emerge from Nightfall. Yesterday, when we saw this Pudge coming into a sort of pushing style draft, we saw that Pudge, like you mentioned, buying the early Crimson Guard. Could this be a game where that might be an option for Matsu after he finishes his Aghanim Scepter? Just to have that as a way to mitigate the damage output of these spiders, given that nobody is building a raid pack? Well,
yeah, it feels just kind of bad playing in the Sven, though.
Yeah, that's true. Well, unfortunately, Matsu's dead, so he has a lot of time to think about that item decision right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's got 40 seconds now to be able to think about like how he wants to play this. I believe he's ever close to his... Yeah, okay, he just picked up his Aghanim Scepter, so... Yeah, I would say it is a nice little way to at least deal with the babies, but it feels very, very bad in towards this Sven, because the thing is with Crimson Guard, it blocks a small amount of damage, so if there's lots of instances of small amounts of damage, it feels very, very good. Big amounts of damage like the Sven does when he hits God Strength and hits a Daedalus, yeah, not all too good. So I probably would imagine that he's going to go towards something along the lines of like a Shiva's Guard, just kind of build up this armor, build up this kind of set of items that he wants to send in these fights. Obviously, Blink Dagger, BKB are on the menu as well, but things outside of the regular are going to be things like the Shiva's Guard as well. So Liquid, they need to try and fight their way back in towards this game because they're starting to fall behind a little bit too much in my liking.
Got a BKB just now for Abed. Not sure if he'll be able to use it in this fight. For now, they're going to focus all their attention towards Boxy. Also ate up most of the Morty's kisses. On the bright side, they do get to clean up the Tombstone, giving some bonus gold towards Mike. But the big thing is that this Tier 1 tower, 21 minutes into this game, it still stands. And Team Liquid recognize how big of a problem this is. I wonder if they'll decide to pop the Ghost for this one. EG, we get charged up onto Fly. That's Undying in danger. Nether Strike will be out onto him. Been silenced up and Fly will die here. Both supports are gone. The double bash coming in from Boxy. That will enable Team Liquid to finally take the Tier 1 in this mid lane. That's a much needed space, dude.
Yeah. Definitely, especially now that EG were starting to suffocate them a little bit. You could see that they were really starting to make this map feel small now that Abed has his BKB up onto the Queen of Pain. A few more of these items come over here for Nightfall as well. He's got the pipe. He's going to go in towards that Hex, and just understanding that his babies can do a lot of damage for him. He just needs to be able to keep everybody alive, and Boxy's going to TP away. Oh, he's just tanky enough. Yeah, we get away from that one, but...
Look at Matu. He's waiting in the wings here, looking for a hook angle. He doesn't have his Blink Dagger just yet, but if Abed had come through the lane, might have ended up in a very awkward situation. Should they try to defend bottom? Because it looks like EG do want to play around that tier 2 tower, but they don't have an Aegis at the moment. Unfortunately, this is a very difficult tower to defend in general, so looks like they'll let it fall, but they're coming for the re-engage. They smoke up instantly. Boxy, who's he charging? He's going for crit. We'll be able to find him and Fly with the charge through there. Silence on the 2 as well. They really want to chase down these supports, but these supports are very happy to be chased down if it gives the rest of the squad an opportunity to escape. And that's exactly what's going to happen. EG get the tower, they get out, leaving behind the Undying, who doesn't live up to his name, but does draw attention of Team Liquid, allow EG to still play the map.
EG are perfectly okay with that. They've only really got a few more minutes for them to wait out for the next potential Roshan spawn. So 1:30, and then maybe another few minutes after that. Arteezy's in a good spot right now with the Sven. We take a little bit of stock of the heroes that we've got so far. So we've got Blink, BKB, Echo Saber. So I'd imagine probably building in towards maybe something like an AC or even just a Daedalus for his next kind of item would be nice for him. I wouldn't hate to see a Silver Edge or something along those lines. Mark 2 has the Aghanim Scepter. Deals really, really well with the Spider Babies, as we've seen. Looking to see if they can kill Matsu here, though. Oh, okay.
You know more or less where he is. They don't
God's
have a direct lead on him. Yeah, they did use it. Don't want to be able to jump him in the
I found him out with the babies.
Finally find him with the babies, but Zai is also here with Ghost on the other side of the fight. Dismember going out onto Arteezy. He can't do the damage. Nether Strike as well as there. His BKB is being wasted. The Requiem blows him up from Mike. Zai does die, but his job is complete, allowing them to bring down Arteezy. And now the chase is on from the rest of Team Liquid. Charge in onto Crit. Bushwhack will prevent it from going all the way through. But Matu, he's now starting to feel himself, getting deeper into the fight. They're looking for Fly. They should be able to also kill the Hoodwink at the same time. Double kill for Matumba Man. And Nightfall and Abe forced to flee away. Team Liquid, they kite around Arteezy. That's always been the biggest drawback of the Sven hero. If he gets kited, held in position, he can be killed. And Team Liquid did it in expert fashion here, Fluke, winning a team fight in the process.
Yeah, that's absolutely massive for Team Liquid. Not only did they take down the Sven, they just forced their team fight on their own terms. You see here in the replay that they got spotted out by the Spider Babies, but Boxy did a good job. They keep Nightfall at bay. Zai does a really good job at separating this fight as well. Understanding that Mike and Matumba Man are going to be the ones that are going to be able to deal with the Arteezy Sven here. Mike perfectly timed Requiem as well, by the way. As soon as that BKB gets ended by Arteezy, he gets blown up by the Requiem, and Zai did a really good job at being able to disconnect the fight, and then all it was Martu walking in with the big Aghanim Scepter. This is the power of the Pudge, right? It is oh so hard to try and get in on top of this heroes when he's got so much of the spell lifesteal. He pops his Flash Heap, walks in with the Aghanim Scepter, and it's very, very hard to deal with on Nightfall again. Trouble.
Again, getting caught out. He got himself dismembered. The charge coming through as well from Boxy, and Nightfall certainly gonna die. Arteezy coming in though, looking for revenge.
Oh, no.
He gets used up because he didn't get off his BKB. So Zai and the crew not really in danger of the Arteezy Sven just yet. That's God Strength also committed there from the A-God. Well, Nightfall hasn't died in a while. That's his first death this entire game. Team Liquid starting to reverse the odds here. Starting to look a lot stronger in these engagements. And Matu starting to get tankier and tankier and tankier. Each time they get one of these pickoffs, that's an additional flesh heap stack. And we've seen what can happen when these start to go up through the roof. Eventually, even the Sven with his massive outlay of damage will really struggle to deal with Matu as this game scales like this.
Yeah, and I think this is where Arteezy might need to change his attentions to some of these other heroes. Mike obviously has his own BKB, so it's hard enough for him to stick on top of him. But I feel like if he's able to get on top of Zai, he does have a Lotus Orb now as well on Zai, and his own Blink Dagger. So if they're able to catch out Zai with maybe like a Bushwhack into the Storm Hammer and Sven pops the God Strength, then if they can blow up this Jet Prophet, I think it makes the rest of these team fights relatively easy for them. They can keep on top of the Shadow Fiend, they can keep on top of the Snapfire. Speaking of the Spirit Breaker, Boxy's in a rough spot.
Matu comes in as well to put Abed in a rough spot. Gets the Dismember out. Unfortunately, Mike not there in time, so they can't combo it with the Requiem. Nonetheless, it's a demonstration of the threat that he has to deal with. Boxy's like, whatever. They die, they de-ward through middle. And the frustrating thing is, once you draw these heroes' attention back, you can't really make that jump again. Because the counterplay option, a little bit too scary. EG. The win probability is now at the perfect point of 50-50. Love to see it. Gold lead, pretty much nothing in between it. Experience, pretty much nothing in between it. A game that's balanced perfectly on a knife's edge right now. All depends on the team plays that come out. And Arteezy.
Oh, they find Matu.
These team plays, they go for Matu. They'll be able to find them. They reveal this Chrysalis. God Strength, Chrysalis, Abed there, and a Sharpshooter. They spare no expense in killing the Matu Pudge. And with his death, guess what's opened up here? Fluke. Big man Roshan wants to say hello.
Yeah, and I was talking on the fact that maybe Arteezy might need to change his target prioritization, but when you catch out Matu literally by himself, shows how much damage they can do. Now with the Matu buyback, are they going to get scanned here? EG, they're staying in the pit.
Staying in the pit, Morty's kisses were raining in. Abed and Arteezy both pop BKBs to try and ensure that they can escape from this one. But Arteezy, stopped by Boxy's Nether Strike. He will still be able to blink himself out as they do bring down this Hoodwink on the far edge of the engagement. You'll stop. There's no more BKB for the A-God. He is going to be brought down. Matu saying, well, it's nice, right? In the meantime, speaking of Matu, he caught Abed in the mid lane. We go back to Arteezy now as he gets Requiem feared into Zai. Will be there with the bonus damage from the Ghosts. And not only that, Fluke, they immediately bound onto the tier 2 tower in the top lane. Mickey is here. They have the whole crew with them. And Matu is pushing solo through this mid lane. And with 3 heroes dead all across the map, they might be able to put damage on 2 sides at the same time here.
Yeah, big team fight coming in there from Team Liquid. Zai is such a thorn in the side of Evil Geniuses. It's so hard for them to be able to walk in towards a lot of these team fights when Zai is just on the front lines. He's getting multiple Spirit Siphons off. He's dropping Lotus Orb on his head. It's very hard for them to stick onto him. And you saw what happened there. They had to commit for the Roshan. As soon as that God Strength was down, Arteezy had to pop the BKB so he didn't get killed by the Mortimer's Kisses. And yeah, he do have the Aegis, but he just blinks away. And that's all that really happens. He tried to get the TP out, but Boxy with the extra bit of game sense was able to get the bash going through it and got that stun there on Arteezy. And now you can see Arteezy pinging out the punch in the Spirit Breaker. It's going to be very hard for them to continue this this game going the way that it is, because they realize on Team Liquid that EG, they really don't have that much damage. Nightfall has gone for this kind of Wraith-packed pipe build on the Broodmother, where the only real issue for them is playing around the spiders and playing around these silken bowlers. But at this point, the only real damage is going to be the Sven, and they're always going to have the kite ability with the bite that goes through BKB. They've got Boxy that goes through BKB with the ultimate and the Nether Strike. So, I mean, Liquid, they're in a really good spot here. They've been team fighting really well. I still feel like this game can be relatively even, though. We've seen what Svens can do if they just catch out one of those team fights, right? If he bursts out 1 or 2 of these heroes on Team Liquid, they're not going to have a good response for him. But if they're the ones that are on the front foot, if they're the ones that are aggressing in towards EG, we saw how many issues they have by playing off the back foot and how hard it is for them to get into these team fights and get some kills.
Yeah. Nightfall on the bright side did just finish off a Hex, so that makes it a little bit easier on the control department to give Arteezy time to just beat in onto these heroes. But the A-God is actually being charged into right now. Do they have vision of the fact that Boxy is doing this? Boxy will give up the Ghost, Dire Scan, good game sense. Look where Crit was going as well, in front of where the charge would be coming to intercept it. Crit's game sense sometimes is ridiculous. Feels like he's got map hacks, it's just too good.
Feels like some of the guys that we're going to be seeing throughout the entirety of TI, they just have that spidey sense, right? It's the reason why these guys are sitting here playing TI group stage. It's the reason why I'm sitting in my bedroom. So
there's a reason why they get to play for millions of dollars and I'm just losing MMR.
It's always the difference, and that's why I think this game, I'm really interested to see what EG's plans are for the next couple of minutes, right? Like, they did just lose the Aegis. They're understanding that it's starting to get a little bit hard here for Arteezy to play on the back foot, and they understand this, right? Like, they're grouping up. They know that they need to be the ones that are aggressing, because it's very hard for them to kind of fall back and peel off for each other and get these kind of counter initiations. What they really want to do is they want to be going in. They want Crit to try and find somebody with a pushback. They want Arbed to be able to jump in towards the backline, put pressure on the Snapfire. They want Fly to be able to just control an area of the map by dropping a Tombstone, becoming the big flesh column as well, and then Arteezy doing Sven things, blinking in and bursting people to pieces. So Liquid, they're going to be the ones that are on the front foot, though. They're going to get the smoke going. If they catch out Crit here, this could be bad. Crit's
happy to die for his squad. Whew. Very dead. Matu gets the +1. We're at 9 stacks right now. Good times. EG, nothing they can really do to try and defend this tower. Despite the fact that Liquid do not have access to an Aegis, they just are so strong. Mickey's also finished off a Silver Edge.
They're going to fight the high ground.
Dude, he's got a Silver Edge and a Pally Sword. Are you kidding me? That's a little bit unfair. Fly will get charged into right now. Matu finds him out as well with the blink. Mickey destroys him with the right click. That's 2 heroes brought down. The tier 2 tower middle, I believe, is also going to be in some degree of jeopardy here. This Team Liquid, they know that they're playing 5v3 for now before the buybacks come in. And this is not going to take them that long to bring this tower down at the rate that Mickey is able to right-click at the moment.
Yeah, Liquid are doing a fantastic job right now. They're just moving around the map as a squad. They understand that it's very, very hard for EG to fight into them if they're the ones that are walking up towards the high ground. They just put low sob on Mike. They just said, hey, buddy, just walk up the high ground and see how you're feeling. So Liquid, they're in a really, really good spot right now to be able to hand EG their first loss of the group stages, especially the Hex.
Instead of time, the Hex did come out onto Boxy, but they got the dismember onto Arteezy. Yet again, the Sven being kited to hell and back. Not even allowed to go in right clicks. He got one right click off in that fight, but a Requiem destroys him yet again. Mega kill streak for the Shadow Fiend. Duels up onto Fly. They hold him in position. They want the additional kill here, and they are going to get it. EG feels like they're crumbling right now here, Fluke, as a double kill is granted towards Mickey on his SF. And that is going to be him also cracking level 21 in the process. They could decide what they want to do now. Ghosts are about to expire from Zai, so they could put a little bit of damage onto the tier 3 tower through this mid lane. Arteezy doesn't have buyback for 44 seconds. He has to wait the long way to come back into this game. EG will be forced to pop this cliff. No other option.
Oh, crit.
Team Liquid will respect enough to back off, but it's a scary man.
Yeah, Matu found crit in towards the bottom side of the map. Nightfall's at least going to try and push them away from this tier 3 tower, but Liquid, the way their team fighting is insane. The way that they're just like thinking about how these team fights are going to go. To be fair, it is pretty straightforward now that the game has gotten towards this point. Just make sure that the Svenja and the BKB can't do anything. They don't have a way of stopping Matu biting. I think that's the biggest thing, is they actually have no way of BKB bite stopping the Sven from walking around in these team fights. They've got the Lincolns now. They don't have to worry about this Hex coming out from Nightfall. Arteezy, he has to build a Lincoln Sphere, but he is so far away from that Lincolns that I think this game could just blow out by the time he even gets close towards any of these components. And Liquid are just in the spot right now where they can constantly just take control of this triangle. They can continue to just chip away at these tier 3 towers, and it's going to get to a point where EG have to try and make a move. But who are they really going to go on? It's so hard to try and kill Zai here. He's got BKB, Load Sword, Blink, and a Yules. Like, how are you ever going to Stormhammer that guy? Matu has almost 3.5k HP, his own BKB getting close towards the Shivas. And Mickey's got a Lincoln and a BKB and a Silver Age. It's like, these calls are going to be so hard for them to kill, and maybe they can get the kill on a Boxy.
Well, Boxy starting to get the kill onto Crit, initiating with the Nether Strike charge. And Crit's still alive for now, but he has to be careful. Matu is closing in. Matu just wants one hook. Give me that Flesh Heap stack. Not going to get it though. Zai steals the kill away from him, but the most important thing is that Crit is indeed dead. Might have a buyback forced out of him. We've already seen the Glyph force. They pop the Lincoln Sphere. They're jumping in with Arteezy, but we already have the force stop. Here's the Blink Dismember. They're going back onto Matumba Man. The Sonic Wave not really going to help out from Abed, but unfortunately the right click damage not enough just yet. We find a very nice pushback coming in onto Insania with a huge hit from the Sharpshooter. Abed is able to get a double kill by bringing down the Pudge, but now it's scary because Zai activates the Ghost with the BKB. He's going in. Charge coming in from Boxy. They find Arteezy. They want the damage on the Sven. On the backlines, Mike is busy cleaning up house all by himself on the SF, and Arteezy is finally about to fall. Zai gets a killing spree. I'm gonna get a double off the back of Fly's death as well. And that is Team Liquid, despite losing the Matumba Man Pudge, still being able to demolish the team fight. EG is just out of damage, Fluke. They have no way to bring down everybody. They can bring down a solitary target, but the entire squad feels just beyond them right now.
It's kind of crazy that not many people will talk about skill expression with a hero like Spirit Breaker, but Boxy, I don't know, man. He must see some angles at different times than a lot of other people do see, because he has been putting himself in the perfect position to get multiple heroes with these charges. He's constantly charging through these fights, understanding that as long as they can continue to kite out Arteezy, that's when these team fights start getting easy for them. There was a few times there in that last team fight where I thought maybe Arteezy was able to stick onto a few of these members, but Team Liquid, they just, kited back. Boxy and Zai did a beautiful job of just keeping on top of the Sven, getting to a point where he can't just stand there and throw out a few more of these right clicks. And Liquid, they're just out team fighting EG right now. EG are doing a really good job being at this deficit to at least get some of these kills, especially a kill onto Matumba Man. But the way that Team Liquid has drafted this time around, I think they've put themselves in a really, really good spot to be able to hand EG their first loss of the group stages and move forward in the rest of this group and make this group spicy. I think that's the biggest thing for me here, Snare, is Liquid getting this dub against EG. Obviously, the game's not over just yet, but if Liquid get the dub here up against EG, this makes this group stage a whole lot funkier here for Group A.
Yep. Oof. That fight also was a demonstration of just how strong the Shadow Fiend has become for Mike. If he's not being stuck onto by RTZ, he's actually immortal in these fights. He's so strong. Stood his ground against 3 heroes by himself. Just right-clicking, right-clicking, right-clicking. And they're all like, well, like it's really funny when there's 2 core heroes like Abed and Nightfall are on top of him and they're like, guys, we actually can't do anything. We have to leave this guy alone. If we fight him, he is going to kill us both. Mike is so strong. EG though, their spirit has not been broken yet, Fluke. They're gonna smoke up. Looking for a quick pick-off so they can try and get this Roshan steal. But it is very, very difficult to do. Team Liquid are in position. They're at the ready. They're sort of waiting for this exact kind of movement to come in from EG. And EG realize how dangerous going high ground can be here. And they go high ground, but they get caught in. But here's Arteezy. They're looking for Mickey with the Sonic Blade. They can kill the Shadow Fiend at long last. On the back end of the fight, though, Matu and Zai clean up both supports. But now they get the Hex back out onto Zai. Zai on the Death Prophet trying to escape the missile of this fight. Matu caught between 3 heroes, and he's not going to be able to survive. Suddenly, Zai finding himself a little bit too isolated as well. And these heroes have fallen low, but not low enough as Abed keeps the chase going onto Boxy. As meantime, Zai drawing away both Arteezy and Nightfall closer to the Roshan pit. He's been used up, he's been caught out, he has been killed off, and Abed finishes off Insania.
And a DD.
That's a full freaking team wipe and a DD rune, and now they're gonna get the Aegis, Cheese, and Refresher shot. Oh wow, EG, man. EG. A bit too much premature to call the game just yet here, Fluke. We are still in contention for a clean sweep in the Group A from EG.
Oh, that team fight was perfect from EG. I didn't really get to talk on it, but they have a Lincoln Sphere now on Arbed, and they have the Lotus Orb onto Nightfall. All they did is they BKB'd on the Sven, and they dropped the Lincolns, they dropped the Lotus on his head and said, off you go, RTZ, let's see how many people you can hit. And he was able to freely hit in these team fights, and that's kind of the reason why that these teams are starting to pick up this position 1 Sven, that if he doesn't get kited around and is able to actually stick on some of these heroes, he does so much damage in these fights. He's able to put pressure back on towards the Shadow Fiend. He's able to make it so that Matu has to be playing in these awkward kind of peripheries of the fights, and RTZ and EG did such a beautiful job to be able to walk up towards that high ground there and pressure Liquid into taking that fight with them. And they knew that with that Lincolns as well as the Lotus Orb, there's no way for them to stop this Sven. And they have to BKB, they have to walk back, they have to kite back, and then EG just did a really good job at constantly pushing forward. And this is what I touched on the entirety of this game, right? EG, their draft is all about being on the front foot. Their draft is about them running forward with this Sven, enabling him in these team fights, making sure that Crick can get these multiple bushwhacks off, get the sharpshooter down. Arbed blinks into the background, gets a lot of this chaos going. And the same thing with Liquid. They want to be on the front foot. They want to be able to catch out the Sven here. So now the table is turned once again here, Snare. It's about how can they outplay these Lincolns and how can they outplay these Lotuses for the side of Team Liquid. Do they need to start getting some more hexes? Do they need to start getting things along the lines of, you know, some of these extra bits of initiation, like, you know, the Spirit Breaker charging in, trying to get that Nether Strike going forward? Do they have ways of kiting around the Sven? Do they need more Force stuffs? Do they need things like the Ghost Scepters and stuff? There's a lot of questions now for Team Liquid, who were in the driver's seat, but EG, I mean, this is the reason why they're 6-0 in their groups, right? Like, these guys are playing some really, really good Dota right now. They were behind the 8 ball, but they've been able to pull this one back, and now they're feeling pretty strong in their own right.
They also just cracked 25 on Arteezy. He's building into his Lincoln Sphere, but the 25 talents, you got the bonus damage as well. So you thought he was hitting hard before. Y'all ain't seen nothing yet. The next team fight that rolls around, Team Liquid really have to worry about themselves in the midst of it. Like you mentioned, they have to deal with multiple Lincoln Spheres, Lotus Orbs, all the like of these things. And I think the worst case scenario was also that Mike got caught first in that last fight. That's literally, he just can't die first. They need access to this Requiem, they need access to the presence of the Dark Lord aura, and they just need his right-click damage. Without him being alive, the only real damage that they have in the midst of this team fight is the Rot and the Ghosts from Zai, but not at the point in the game where that's enough anymore. ZG, with this Aegis in tow on our bed, they're gonna smoke up. They just picked up an AC on Nightfall. My god, Arteezy is gonna hit so hard in this next team fight. Liquid need to dodge this at all costs. I don't know if they know this is happening. Zai might be a little bit too far forward here. Does have a blink dagger though, so should be able to get himself out. No, he can't! Abed has the Aghanim shot, so they keep him in position. They can't save him just yet. He's on the low ground now. Matu thinking about trying to eat somebody, but unfortunately won't be able to do so until RTZ jumps down to the low ground and Zai has already been brought down. Mickey forced to BKB. Abed refreshes for the secondary Sonic Wave onto Matu, and now they've killed the Pudge. Insania jumped forward with the Fire Snap Cookie, but that's just going to lead to his death. 3 heroes have fallen, and unfortunately here, Fluke, none of these heroes have buyback. The only positive thing is that the creep wave is all the way deep into this mid lane. Boxy was doing the right thing of pushing it out, so they're not going to get racks through this mid lane, but it's a very, very close call as Team Liquid starting to feel the pressure against EG.
Yeah, if EG are able to be on the front foot, they look very, very scary here. This Sven just kind of is a juggernaut, and it's very, very hard for them to be able to deal with that. You just see what Marty was able to do with the bite. At least they're able to kite him around for a little bit, but everybody else was on the back foot, right? You know, Zai got caught in a very awkward position. They had to four-staff him down towards the low ground, and it just starts getting scarier and scarier here for Team Liquid because EG, they're getting the confidence back in towards their draft. They're getting the confidence back in towards his heroes as well. Artis is getting closer towards that Lincoln Sphere. He builds up his own Lincoln Sphere. He never has to worry about being bitten, and he can just kind of freely run around these team fights. He can start building damage. Maybe he builds towards an Aghanim Scepter for himself to constantly try and get on top of heroes like Mickey as well as Boxy. And what we're seeing right now is EG wrangled this game back, brought it back towards a 50-50 win probability, and now they are in front, feeling scary, feeling strong, and maybe we might see some more of this this Sven as a response to heroes like the Shadow Fiend.
Boxing got hexed. They do not have access to a Lincoln or a Lotus or anything on the Spirit Breaker, so he just dies heads up. That's a gem given up as well. And he needs to buy back potentially because I do not think that EG are going to not take this opportunity. They jump onto the high ground looking for Matu. Here comes Arteezy. They've broken the Lincolns onto Mike. Lotus off, back onto Arteezy, activates the BKB. Now Zai hexed up. He can't get off his spells, but at the same time, they finally dismember onto Abed. Now Matu and the crew, they want to bounce forward. The BKB from Arteezy has expired. Zai with his own BKB goes deeper in the fight with the Exorcism Ghost, chasing down Fly. They've gotten that kill. Crit, the lone survivor so far, allowed to TP out the high ground. I don't think Boxy has the vision here. Oh, he charges through. Realizes where he's at. Boxy, man. What is going on? Matsu gets a triple kill off the back of this. Boxy with the reads, understanding exactly what's going on. And EG end up losing 3. And they bought back on Abed as well, just on the tail end of the fight.
Has been killed.
Yeah, I need to know what Boxy eats for breakfast because I have no idea how he had that read there. That is some spidey senses, I think, there. And EG, now they're on the back foot once again. This is such a back and forth game between both these two juggernaut organizations. And you can just see what happens when they're not able to abuse the BKB that comes in from the Sven, right? When it gets to a position where the Sven isn't able to kind of get on top of the Shadow Fiend, get on top of this Pudge and really kind of burn them to pieces. You see the issues that EG has, and it was a pretty clutch play coming in from Zai, the fact that he bought this Aghanim Shard, and the fear was what caught out Abed. He wasn't able to get his BKB off, he got feared, he got stunned, he got hooked, and that was all she wrote there. And now with 2 lanes of racks going down, EG with no buybacks in their back pocket, that I thought that they were going to be able to bring this one back, but Liquid once again swings the roundabouts, and they are swinging back hard here into the base of EG. They're not going to be able to get mega creeps here with RTZ respawning in 10 seconds, but man, they've done some damage to this base of EG.
Considering that they pushed right after a fight began on their own high ground, this is actually phenomenal. And just shows how quickly that Zai and the crew can get from one side of the map to the other, dish out this damage. Of course, Mickey earlier on did get the 15 talent, so the presence does affect these buildings, which helps a lot with this push. 8k gold lead right now for the side of Team Liquid. And EG, damage is not the issue. It's about control. If they can avoid being controlled up, they can win these team fights. But they're really struggling at this point in time. And what's, you know, I keep talking about how Dota 2 is a game of margins. Remember that previous fight that EG won pretty resoundingly, also on the ramp of the tier 3 middle, and then Boxy was pushing out the wave so they couldn't actually go up the high ground? If that doesn't happen, and they actually get megas out of that, maybe this fight doesn't happen as well as it does, because then they won't have this tier 3 tower helping them with the additional protection to keep Zai alive, that extra second longer to get off that fear. Dota 2, game of margins, and this margin right now very favorable for Team Liquid. However, the last 2 days have taught us that comebacks can come from anywhere here, Fluke. If you're on the side of EG, What do they need to do next in order to still give themselves a fighting chance in this game?
I think they can just try and get a smoke going. Push out some of these waves like they're doing here with Nightfall and RTZ. Just try and force Liquid back on their side of the map. And once they start to get them separated a little bit, if they're able to catch out, you know, Shadow Fiend or even the Hungerman in some of these awkward positions, they don't want to be playing on the back foot. You can see as soon as that initiation comes through, Crit understands that as long as he gets himself reset back in towards this fight, he's going to be A-okay. But EG, they permanently have to be dealing with these waves. And I think that's going to be the annoying part here for EG moving forward, is they're going to have to constantly be dealing with top and middle. That all it takes is Liquid to just hit a few creep waves. You know, if you just send a hero here, just hit one creep wave or not. Oh, Boxy. RTZ, he's been cutted. Oh, no. We're going to talk about that one, boys. It didn't happen.
Yeah, what a player.
Right.
It's fine.
RTZ just checking to see if his R button worked. It still works.
You gotta do these checks sometimes. You know, Dota 2 still in beta. You're not sure if it might not work sometimes. And now they know, though. Boxy scouted it out. Look what he's telling his team. He's like, guys, RTZ's on the other side of the map. Let's go force a fight. Let's get in. Matu looking for somebody to jump onto with the dismember. He goes onto the high ground. Only comes across Crit first. Crit gets stunned by Boxy, who charges through to try and find Fly. Nether Strike will be there as well, as Crit gets taken out. 65 seconds in the grave, no buyback. And also Nightfall gets caught out on the high ground through middle. He's dead too. He does have buyback, but now they have these ghosts from Zai flying everywhere. 4 versus 5. How on earth do they defend this? They cannot play against these megas. But they're about to have to deal with them regardless. God Strength is down, exactly. That's why they went for this move. That one moment where Boxy able to avoid RTZ might actually be the death knell for the side of EG, as they now have to play against these mega creeps. Team Liquid can now back off. Roshan respawns in 25 seconds. EG. Now we're at the point where, RTZ, my friend, do we have enough gold for rapiers or anything special like that? I don't think you can't play normally anymore. That's just not going to cut it.
No. He bought a Swift Blink just recently as well, so there's going to be no rapier for him. There's an Arcane Blink now on Mickey. DD Rune outside of the pit. So the Miracle Rune, once again, is starting to favor Liquid this time around. It did favor EG a little bit more. They've got to smoke up here, though. If they're able to catch out Zai, maybe this might be what they need. Oh, the double Hex.
Oh, Lotus Orb. Hexes back Nightfall, so you can't keep the chase going onto this Death Prophet. Although RTZ was almost able to get the DD. Mickey snuck it in front of his face with the Silver Edge. If RTZ got that one, that would have been a huge deal. Shiva's God will scout these heroes out in the pit. Fly, hooked out of it. He's dead almost instantly. Arbed comes in with the Sonic Wave. Not enough damage though. So Sonic Wave is down. Doesn't have access to a refresher.
RTZ.
Here comes RTZ. Jumping onto Zai. Eliminating him from the field of play. Buyback immediately forced out of the Death Prophet. But that was the BKB duration as well here. So that means they no longer have access to said BKB. Boxy, he's actually charging Fly inside the base to make sure he can't come and join the fight. But this is an awkward situation to be as IEG. EG know that they really want the Roshan, but at the same time, Megas are pushing in here, Fluke. You can't ignore your base for the sake of the Aegis. So they have a very difficult decision to make about how they play this out.
Yeah, they have to try and clear these creep waves, and they're just going to have to give up the Aegis. They've got no God Strength for another 30 seconds. They don't really have the BKB either. It's just in this position now where Liquid just, they understood that EG are the ones that have to try and make something happen, right? They're the ones that have to try and get something done with this BKB God Strength. And as long as Liquid don't lose too many members, yeah, they lost Zai, but he bought back. He doesn't care. He's able to come back into this fight. Now they give the Aegis to the Immortal onto Mickey. They get themselves the extra Aghanim's Blessing that goes his way as well. And Liquid, they're in a really, really good spot here. EG, though, they still have some inroads. They still have a very small chance about being able to get this game going, because we've seen what Sven can do in these team fights, right? He bought the Rapier. Okay, all right, Snare. We've got the Rapier here on RTZ. If he's able to catch out some of these members, this can be a team fight that can go the way of EG. And if Liquid aren't privy to this information about the Rapier, this could be a hard fight for them. You know, if you're Mickey, you can walk up high ground, you can feel all nonchalant. Yeah, I got an Aegis, boys, look at me. Walk in, don't realize that RTZ has a Divine Rapier. He comes in and he 2-hits you. Then that's when things start getting spooky and weird. But the big thing for Liquid, Mega Creeps. They got Mega Creeps, they've got Aegis, they've got a Refresher Shard, they've got Cheese. It is all coming up Liquid right now, and EG have a very small chance at making this work, but I think they've only got one team fight left in them. They need this next team fight to go their way. They need RTZ to try and get, I think, 2 kills a minimum in this fight. If they can kill Zai, he's got no buyback. If they can kill Mickey and at least force the Aegis through this first BKB, then that's when it's going to start to look nice for him. You can just see what Arteezy's doing. He's hiding in the base. He knows that if they see this Divine Rapier, he is going to get jumped on and he's going to die.
The one bright spot with already being Mega is you don't have to worry about positioning to protect Rack, so you can just sit by the tier 4 towers. But Zai comes in for the fight. Requiem comes out. They've already caught Crit. Crit is falling very low. Arteezy, he's now coming into the fight with the quad strike. He's trying to chop down Matumba Man. He will be able to get the kill onto the Pudge. Chasing onto Zai right now. Arteezy, the superhero, but the BKB is finished. He's about to get feared. The charge coming in from Boxy as well. Can he run down Zai? Doesn't seem like he'll be able to. But he has demonstrated the power of this Rapier. Blink coming back with the Swift. Will he really try to go for this? Yes, he does. He finds Insania. 3 shots. If there used to be a Snapfire, now there isn't. Wow. An Arteezy saves the game. The game's still going right now.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a 3k damage crit that came out from Arteezy as well. So they hold on. They're holding on here, Snare. Let's have a look at the win probability. It looks like a bit of a roller coaster that's going down. So it's dipping down a little bit here. 88% after Arteezy gets himself a few of those kills. You can see he's hovering around the back, right? He's hovering around. He knows that he can't put himself in too bad of a position. Arbe does a really good job at kiting out everybody on the left-hand side of the fight. They have to force the buyback here coming in from Boxy. They're looking to try and get on top of Zai, but they just weren't able to connect on that fight. And the fact that Mike wasn't around to be able to help Matumba Man kill this Arteezy as he walks in with this Divine Rapier means that EG are just able to stand their ground and have Arteezy as the turret at the front. Oh, this is getting spicy, man. We had a 70-minute barn burner to end our day yesterday. Now we've got a 53-minute game here so far between EG and Liquid. Rapiers are abound. Is this the first Rapier of group stages as well? I think it is.
That is actually a very interesting question. We must find out actually if this is indeed the first Divine Rapier. Whew. This is
spicy. So I'm just trying to think here, Snare, right? About thinking about the avenues that are going to start to arise, right? Obviously, we've got Arteezy with this Divine Rapier, so he's going to be the big centerpiece for EG. On the other side of things, though, that Team Liquid, they're starting to get towards these latter stages where they have their own kind of items going around. Matumba Man went for this Refresher Orb, so I like that he has his BKB and the Shiva's Guard. Just wants to try and kite around Arteezy as much as they possibly can, but you can just see how patient Arteezy has been in these fights, and getting to the point now where as long as he's playing around what Mike is doing, as long as he doesn't get Requiemed, as long as he doesn't get kind of blown up by this Shadow Fiend, Arteezy is happy to play these fights nice and slow because they haven't been able to burst anybody just yet on EG. And oh man, this is I don't know what it is, Snare. It's you and I together, brother. We get some interesting games, to say the least. Very interesting
games. It's only been interesting games. We've only had like one game that was kind of stompy, but everything else has been barn burners the whole way through. And indeed, sir, I can confirm this is the first Divine Rapier at the International 2022. So TI11's first Rapier belongs to Arteezy. Wants to go himself into this Moonshot as well. I mean, he had to sell off the Echo Saber to make sure he had enough gold for the Rapier. So it would be nice to get some more attack speed. Because we did see in that last fight that when he was far away from Nightfall, the attack speed didn't feel that great. So we do definitely need some additional buffing up for Arteezy. But the way he's playing this out, you mentioned it now, he's playing it so patiently. He'll get the gold, and he realizes as well that having buyback in a situation where you're playing against Megas with a Rapier, buyback is much less important than just winning the fight outright. So do everything in your power to just get the straight up dub. He brings in this Moonshot. He's gotten the buff for himself. And now, because Aegis has expired, Team Liquid, they've seen from that last fight that Arteezy is nothing to mess with anymore. So they might not feel brave enough to go and end this game until the next Aegis. And if that happens, Fluke, you know what we're getting? Tier 5 neutral items before this game ends.
Ooh, oh, those tier 5 neutral items can really blow this game out as well. Like, if they get, like, Force Boots is going to be a huge one. If they get themselves, like, a Mirror Shield, could be absolutely massive as well. Apex, Giant's Ring on Arteezy, 35 strength and 50 move speed. That's going to be spicy. Even something along the lines of, like, a Pirate Hat. I feel like just giving Arteezy as much movement speed and as much attack speed as it possibly can is exactly what they need. I think on the other side of things for Team Liquid, Mirror Shield would be pretty good for themselves as well. Even the Book of Shadows. I think the Book of Shadows is going to be really, really big if Team Liquid are able to get that. Just gives you that extra bit of immunity up against Arteezy, because as long as you're untargetable, you're going to be A-okay to be able to deal with this spend. So, oh, these T5 neutral items, they're going to be scary here, Snare. And Team Liquid, they know they don't want to throw this game. I think that's the biggest thing for them, is they're in the driver's seat right now. And they're forcing EG to have to play these kind of like 2%, kind of plays, right? Where they're like, they've got the Divine Rapier on Arteezy. They're going to have to try and play this kind of weird and wacky style. And as long as Liquid hold on, you're going to have to force EG to try and make a mistake because they're going to get antsy, right? It's going to get to a point where EG are not feeling all too good about how this game is going, and they're really going to want to try and get this game ended as well. As we can see on our screens, we talked about it a little bit beforehand. PSG or OGD are actually ahead up against OG in that game number 1. So it's a big spooky one on that A stream.
Goodness. I need PSG LGD to start finding some form. I need those battle points for them to win TI, so figure it out, boys. Please do. I love this game as well. The state that we're in at the moment. We're at the point where nothing matters but buybacks. Net worth, who cares?
Yep.
Buybacks are the only important thing. And they're starting to come back right now for the side of EG. Both supports have access to it. Arbed has it as well. It's only really Nightfall on the Broodmother and the Arteezy Sven. They need to pick this up at the very end. It is very, very close right now. Roshan, in 40 seconds, will know exactly how long it'll take before the big man returns. For the side of Liquid, they want the faster the better. They do not want to be just standing outside of the space. This is so similar to yesterday, right? Where we just see the one squad having entire control of the map, but feeling a little bit skittish about taking a head-on fight because of the damage outlay of the primary carry. And EG, they smoke up.
Oh.
They're going for the jugular. They're being proactive about this. Maybe they're trying to catch out Team Liquid.
About Roche.
They want to catch them out before the Roche starts. But who can they go on here? Crit has vision. He's been scouted out. Boxy comes in with the charge, forced to cancel it. And Insania already committed the Morty's kisses here. But EG, just get back. They know that the jig is up. They've been scouted. And of course, the jig is up in the base as well. Creeps are always going to reveal the fact that they're no longer nearby, given that the Megas are always pushing in.
Yep, and that's the big thing here for Team Liquid, is they're always going to have these mega creeps pushing in towards the base, and it's always about how EG handle that. Can they find a small little window where they can push out some of these creep waves? The bonus thing for them as well is they've got heroes that can really actually deal with these waves relatively well. Nightfall's able to deal with it pretty well on the Broodmother, and we've already seen what Arteezy can do with the Great Cleave. So it's getting to points now in this game where Liquid are just trying to set up their waves where they don't have to worry about EG smoking out of them, and EG are trying to set up their waves so they can do moves like this. They're looking to see if they can catch out Team Liquid lacking. Team Liquid, they're doing a really good job at just spacing themselves out, just not putting themselves into bad positions, not putting themselves in a scenario where Arteezy can blow people up. Another minute and 40 seconds, Arteezy. Creeps are in the base though, here's Snap.
Yep. Somebody has to go back, pushes over. This aggression is done. We have to go and deal with this. It's very unfortunate for EG. I think they were hoping for an earlier Roche. The earlier the Roche, the better for them, but it's going to be a late one. Only coming in another 80 seconds from this point. Team Liquid still happy to just keep all of these waves pushed out. Happy to be playing with these megas. And EG, they're so frustrated, right? Because Team Liquid, because they're playing this more split map style so many times, splitting these waves, EG can't find like a direct connection for the smoke. So that's the second one they committed just now in the last 2 minutes. And I don't think they'll be able to go for another one just yet. But they really can't give up this Aegis either. At the same time, Arteezy about to have money for the full buyback as well. If Arteezy can buy back, this would be huge, but Arteezy might have also been scouted. I think they see him. He's been jumped on. Dismember there from Matumba Man. Zai in with the Exorcism Ghost as well. And Arteezy can't get off his spells. Arbed buys him time though. Gets off the Sonic Wave. But the Requiem from Mickey brings down the Sven. That's a Rapier on the deck, picked up by Boxy. Arbed still doing his best to try and fight this. Sonic Wave, though, will be there.
Arbed has the Rapier.
Arbed able to reclaim the Rapier. He passes it on to Arteezy. Arteezy might want to re-engage onto this fight. Can they get there in time? Blink forward. Won't be able to be there. And who's going to die next? Nobody, because Team Liquid are on the retreat. Arteezy finds the Stormhammer out onto Matu. He gets the damage out. Matumba Man is going to end up dead 100 seconds in the grave. And Arbed still chasing, has access to this Rapier, so there's a lot of damage coming from this Queen of Pain. And EG...
Roche up in 5 seconds.
Expensive fight here, but they get them important kills. Roche is going to be online. If they can force a buyback from Matsu, then it won't feel so bad that Arteezy brought back, but Arteezy, he's on cleanup duty back inside the base, so he might not be able to fight for the Sages. At the same time, they have found Mickey. Sharpshooter hit will be there. He doesn't have access to a BKB anymore, but it's coming back in 2 seconds. So EG have to flee. Zai Cannot find the Wind Waker proc out onto Nightfall, given that he has both Linkens and Lotus Orb, so he'll be safe. But now Team Liquid has clocked the fact that this Roshan is back online. Matu brought back, so they need to do something about this. They need to get the Aegis into his hands. RTZ, though, doesn't have enough gold to buy another Rapier. We'll buy the Aghanim Scepter instead. So that's going to get him deeper into the fight. Maybe he used the Swift Blink to get out, but he's actually just going in. RTZ? RTZ?
Oh, RTZ?
RTZ? He's on the high ground here, forcing a fight up against the side of Mike and Matumba, man. They use their BKBs. Zai fears away crit. But if it wasted BKBs, it just might be worth it. Nightfall, though, might have to commit his life for this one. He dies 2 minutes in the grave, 5 back immediately. But somebody has to go home here. Look at the base fluke. These are megas that they're dealing with on the side of EG. It's so difficult to keep control of this game. And RTZ will have to return here just to clean up these waves, but that gives a free pass towards the Roshan for Team Liquid. Matu will be so happy with this. And this is a Roshan with all the goodies, my friend. An Axe, Cheese, Refresher Shard, and the young Aegis itself. So they're about to get even stronger on the side of Team Liquid, despite not having a buyback available on Matu.
Yeah, it's you see those last couple of fights. RTZ, yeah, he might be fast, but, you know, circling back to when RTZ died first, they got baited by the tier 5 neutral item snare. RTZ was trying to get a tier 5 neutral item. He got himself Force Boots, so he got himself a nice one, but the reason why he was out of the base was because they wanted the tier 5 neutral item. Zai now has the Giant's Ring, Force Boots are up on RTZ, there's a Book of the Dead on Nightfall, so maybe some of this rat shenanigans. There is a Mirror Shield that comes out onto Matumba Man and Force Boots for Mike as well, so these tier 5 items are starting to pile up here for the side of Liquid. They're the ones that have control of the entirety of this map. Or Arcanist Armor could be massive against a Sven who does a whole lot of damage. They're looking to see if they can connect here onto Matumba Man. They use God Strength once again here on RTZ, so they want to try and play around here. Stygian Desolator as well, so going to be able to transfer that on towards the Shadow Fiend, who's going to do a whole boatload of damage.
Yeah.
Might want to still hold on to the Force Boots, though.
I mean, is damage really the issue anymore, right? I think they don't really need the additional damage outlay. It's more important that he has multiple sources of survivability. So having Arcane Blink, Force Boots, Hurricane Pike, and Silver Edge probably carries a little bit more currency than just having the raw right-click damage. I think they might actually just leave the Destiny. Like, who needs this? They gave it to Boxy. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. To be fair, Boxy, there have been times where his 1 or 2 hits have been instrumental. He's sitting here with 30 assists on the Spirit Breaker this game. Kind of incredible. Jump forward for Matu, misses the hook though. No target for the Dismember just yet. Crit holding them back with the Bushwhack. But with this Aegis in tow, Team Liquid, they're tired of this game here. They know that we've already had a 70-minute game. They want that one to be the longest one. Don't want to extend it any farther. It's Team Liquid now smoke up on 3. Mickey waiting for the opportunity to go in with the Arcane Blink Requiem. Does he have a chance yet? RTZ scouted out in the top lane. Is Mickey going in? There's the God Strength. There's going to be the fear onto Arbed, but he does get off the BKB. Charge in onto RTZ. He will be hit by Boxy, who activates BKB. They want to force a BKB out of RTZ, but it's not happening just yet. In the meantime, they'll fly. Will end up dying to the Exorcism. But just the Aegon! RTZ right-clicking on the edge of the fight. Able to bring down the first life of Matu. Already killed Insania. Mickey, though, gets off the fear. RTZ, will he survive this fight? He doesn't have the Satanic proc, because he's feared and he's killed. 2 minutes in the grave, no buyback for the Aegon, as Crit cannot contend with these Exorcism ghosts. He gets charged into by Boxy, leaving Nightfall all alone to try and defend this. Crit will buy back. Arbed is just on the high ground, but EG, they see the writing on the wall. They acknowledge the power of Team Liquid, and they will suffer their first loss.